All right, I'm back after a few weeks of travel, and today I'm going to be auditing one of the D2C brands that I actually came across while traveling that my girlfriend told me about, and it is called Loops Beauty. Loops sells face masks for women, but also for men. I was actually coerced myself into trying one, and honestly, I kind of liked it, and I'm probably going to do it again. So anyway, Loops is a pretty disruptive D2C brand. I think they follow like the very let's say mid 2010s kind of disruptive D2C model where they take a pretty standard generic product and they disrupt it with very unique, colorful, fun branding. Okay. Very similar to the olive oil Graza, very similar to the suitcase / luggage company Away, similar to like Native, the skincare brand. All right. So I'm going to audit them. I'm going to talk about what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, how SEO could actually kind of shake out for them in terms of like top line revenue growth, what the strategy would look like to get them there, and let's get into it. All right, so this is the Loops Beauty website. Okay, I'm going to get into SEMrush in a second, but I just kind of want to show you what they do. All right, so they only sell face masks. I'm sure they have other skincare products coming down the line. I think they should. It's a good brand, and if you can get face masks running, definitely worth launching other kinds of moisturizers, skin creams, topical agents, moisturizers of any kind, right? Again, most brands mostly aimed at women because that's what face masks have always traditionally been aimed at. But if you like check their product categories, they've actually got a few like med modeling for them, like right here, for example. Any case, good stuff. A lot of cool stuff here. What I did like about the site, and we found them in the store, but in any case, they have like the shop by benefits. They've got anti-aging, they've got glow, moisturizing, brightening, calming, plumping, so on and so forth, right? So when I saw this on the site, I got pretty excited because, and I'm just a geek about SEO, which is lame, but in any case, here we are. I was thinking like, oh, you can do face masks for anti-aging, face masks for brightening, face masks for dark spots, right? And so as an SEO play, it's really good. You can target specific use cases to people who, while there are fewer of them searching for these kinds of specific use cases, are going to convert at a higher rate. Okay. Now, my suggestion, like if you're going to do something like this, has always been very service level, right? You can repackage the exact same products for different use cases, right? So like I use like the protein powder example a lot, right? You could do like, you can have protein powder, but you can also have vanilla, chocolate, vegan, plant-based, for weight loss, for strength, for athletes, all these kinds of things, right? And you could effectively sell the same protein powder in all of those collection pages. Now, I actually checked the ingredients on these, the face mask. All the ingredients are actually different, right? So like the ingredients for their calming versus their sleep versus their dark spot ones are actually all different. So they are selling unique products, which is pretty cool, okay? In any case, just like clicking through this, I'm going to show you this one thing, and then I'm going to get into SEMrush, okay? So we've got the anti-aging face mask here. If you look at the meta title, you've got anti-aging beauty face mask for smoother skin. I don't hate the meta title. I'd probably drop the word beauty out of here. Yes, it's obviously prevalent here. However, the keyword, and I've already looked it up, is actually anti-aging face masks, or anti-aging facial masks, rather. So while beauty is helpful, I'd probably do something like anti-aging face masks for beautiful, smoother skin would be my recommendation, right? You also notice the H1 is missing on this page. It's not visible whatsoever. So definitely need to get that H1 showing on page. That's a pretty critical element. You also notice that their product titles here are actually showing up as H1. So they've got like 8? No, I don't even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is that? 11, 12, 13 H1s. Obviously a big deal when you're talking about like SEO page layout. So want to clean that up. You want to have one visible H1, which is actually the collection page title. And then you want to have all these H1s that are product titles just moved out to like H3 or just something not H1, okay? Ideally, we're going to have copy at the bottom. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But let's just check out SEMrush for now, okay? So popping into SEMrush, we're going to look at Loops Beauty. Now, I've actually already pulled a report from here for search volume and traffic volume and keywords. I pulled it about 2 weeks ago while I was traveling, so the data is a little bit off. You can see it's off because there's a big drop here from about 14,500 organic visits a month down to 7,000, so cut in half. I do believe I have the answer to that, why that happened. And the answer to that, I believe, is simply because they dropped in position from 2 to 3 for the brand or for the keyword name or the keyword loops. Actually dropped in position 4 as of yesterday. Okay, so Loops, if you don't know, is actually the name of a handful of brands. It's an email platform for SaaS. It is a earplug company, which is like the number one, I think, most selling earplug currently. And then Amazon, Loop, and then you got Loops Beauty. So currently, they actually are in 3. The SEMrush is out of date. But I believe when I checked the last time, they're in position 2. And because it's like the culmination of so many brands, 27,000 is the total search volume. Dropping from 2 to 3 likely caused that drop from 14.5K to 7K in volume. Okay. Now let's throw the loops out of the equation because we don't care about that, right? Branded is not something I can impact at all as an SEO. It's not something anyone can impact as an SEO. You are simply looking at non-branded stuff. Okay. Now we just look like total traffic here, or sorry, total like traffic per keyword. Face mask for glowing skin is the top one here, top non-branded keyword. Then you've got eye mask. Then you've got face mask for dark marks, which they rank position 1. And you got face mask for nighttime, also position 1. You've got hydrogel mask, they're in position 1. Okay, so out of the top like 20 keywords, there's only like 4 non-branded ones. Okay, now that's where they currently sit. Okay, so traffic's on a downtrend, but it's honestly like kind of been pretty flat. I'm assuming all these peaks are just when they ranked higher for loops or versions of loops, which again kind of conflates with other brands. Now, go to the spreadsheet. Couple things I want to walk through here. So I pulled all their collections here, just like from their sitemap. Okay, so this is like a full, all the yellow ones are a list of their full collection pages from the sitemap.xml. These are collections that don't receive any organic traffic. I mark them as valuable, yes or no. It's about half and half on yes or no. Products list is not valuable. I mean, the collection exists, right? I can't prevent them from creating the collection, but it's really not valuable to them. I'm assuming they probably use it in their email or ad campaigns, which is totally fine. As long as the pages like aren't really being indexed, they're not going to take up crawl budget. They're not going to really impact SEO in a positive or negative way. Okay. However, I will say like all the ones that are no, if it were up to me, I would set them as no index because they're not doing anything and they're eating on my crawl budget, right? There's not a lot of them. There's only 12 here, but over time, this could become a rampant issue. I've seen brands create all kinds of random collections and just like cause this massive bloat across the system. So in a perfect world, I would just get rid of I would no index these. In any case, just based on the URL slug alone, I marked a few as yes. So like, for example, like custom program, like these are custom masks for face. This is something that could be valuable with good keyword targeting and optimization. And then you got like gifts under 100, under 125. So you could do like skincare gifts under $100 or under 125, right? Again, I'm not going to get into these too much. I just wanted to like kind of let you know like how I think about breaking down page types. Okay. Now, of the collections that are valuable, they are listed here with the estimated monthly traffic, again, pulled from SEMrush, traffic percentage pulled from SEMrush, number of keywords that this page ranks for, and primary keyword. Now, one thing to note here is I've already filtered out branded traffic, so anything containing the word loops, you'll notice that because like these numbers very clearly don't add up to 100%, not even close, something like 8% in total, maybe a little over 8. So branded traffic is accounting for like 90% plus. I didn't include blogs or anything else or products in this, but actually I'd probably imagine branded traffic is accounting for like probably 70% conservatively. Okay, now what I have done for each page, yellow basically means this page also like it's getting traffic, but it's not valuable to me. A shop all page is never valuable to anyone, really. It's going to compete with your homepage. So my recommendation would actually just be to no index it and canonicalize to the homepage. We do this with pretty much every single brand we work with. Same goes for the collection/all, which is a default collection created by Shopify. Okay, again, no index, canonicalize to the homepage. You can still run ads to it. You can still run email campaigns to it. It's just not going to bother your search campaigns, which is really what we're here about. Okay. These two in red are duplicate product URL issues. You can see we've got the collection/collection name and then product/product name. In a perfect world, this collection would be fully, or this URL would be fully removed, and we just have the product/exfoliating toner. I'm actually going to touch on this in the next tab here. Okay. Now, what I have done in columns E through F here, primary keyword, total search volume, current ranking. Okay. For the ones that are in the top 3 to 5 spots, I've acknowledged the primary keyword. For the ones that are outside the top 5, I've chosen a brand new keyword. Okay. Face mask for glowing skin. At the time I pulled this, ranked number 1, 880 searches a month. Great. Bulk face mask ranked number 3. However, I actually do believe a face mask set would be a better keyword to target here because it's a higher search volume and it's not that hard to rank for. So I would take this mask bundles page and I would target face mask sets here. Face mask for dark spots. I actually created some collection page copy based on the collection page structure I've used and I use currently at the agency, and also I've shown on YouTube a handful of times. So I'm going to show you that in a second. Brightening face mask, this is the keyword it should be optimized for. It currently ranks 60, so we need to add copy and optimize. Again, going to show you what that looks like. Anti-aging face mask doesn't rank anywhere, but good volume here. Plumping face mask ranks 1, fine. Moisturizing face mask, 1300 doesn't rank at all. This would be a huge one to win. Facial mask at 6600 and detox face mask at 600 and calming face mask at 260. Okay, no rankings for any of these collection pages, right? Now, one note before I get into these other things. You may have think very obviously that I missed the keyword face mask here. I think the keyword gets about 64,000 searches a month. However, face masks are the face masks that Google is deeming search intent to be are the medical face masks that became, I don't want to say popular, but everyone finally learned what they were during COVID, right? So face mask has a new meaning or a different meaning comparatively to the like beauty face mask that I'm trying to sell. However, when you search facial masks, all the top results are beauty mask like loops. Okay. So volume is definitely like a lot less appetizing. It's about 10%. However, the intent is much clearer and the conversion rate is much higher here as opposed to just like broadly speaking face masks. Okay. So potential for some different, like maybe some different rebranding on the homepage and things like that. But again, we'll talk about that later. Now, if you just improve from these keywords up here, if you just improve the rankings here, total volume would yield about 10,000 total potential searches a month. If you're in the number one spot, you'd roughly be getting, I think, like 50 something percent. I'll pull up my ROI calculator in a second or a little bit later in the video, and I'll show you what that volume would actually look like and click-through rate would look like. But again, 10,000 total. Now, these are other collections I just very quickly spun up with ChatGPT, and I cross-referenced the search volume in SEMrush. But you could build out even more for like specific use cases, right? So like acne, blackheads, sensitive skin, so on and so forth. I've got for women. I don't even have for men on there. I'm sure the volume's not that crazy, but I just like very quickly whip these up in ChatGPT, like I said. Total potential volume here is 9,060. You stack these up together, you're looking at an extra 20,000 searches a month, potentially, okay? That's great. Again, this is very quickly put together. I did not spend a lot of time on keyword research. I know there's far more out there, okay? So that's the collection page. While we're on the collection page, let's talk about what the copy would actually look like. So I've already got this open. I'm going to pop over to this, okay? Now, if I were to do SEO for loops, first thing I would do is add copy to all of their collection pages, at least the ones that currently don't rank in the top 3 to 5 spots, because that's very easy wins. If the collection ranked in the top 3 to 5 spots for the target keyword I actually wanted to rank for, I'd probably just update the meta title, maybe add like one line of copy, like a singular sentence, and add some more internal links into that page. Those 3 items would be enough to probably move the needle or move the page rather into the top 1 spot, just based on this niche. I think the niche is pretty weak, which is why you would need a lot of kind of like activity going on to move up that high. Now, for some of the keywords like facial mask, which has 6,600 searches a month, you would need a lot more. Or face mask for hyperpigmentation, which has I think like a couple, I think like near 1,000 searches a month, higher, above or below at 1,000. I can't recall exactly, but in any case, like it would need more copy because it doesn't rank anywhere near the top 5 spots. So I spun this up with AI. I definitely would do some more editing to it, but it's got the basic premise. Okay, title H1 would be exactly target keyword face mask for hyperpigmentation. Meta title would include that exactly plus dark spots. H1 is exactly this again. Very short product description or like collection description intro, about 100 words, probably less. You want to use the target keyword twice. I've got it here once and then here the second time. Product grid. So like if we're going like back to this collection page, for example, like copy would be here. H1 would be here, short sentence of copy. And then below here would be the rest of this copy, which is down here. Okay. Now H2 face mask for spots, which is the kind of alternative keyword here. And I have 3 H3s. Here, and here with about 100 words or so, again, mentioning the keywords, but also elaborating on each of those H3s. The H3s are just unique step points, okay? I've talked about this extensively in my collection page formatting, right? You've got the H1 and short description, you've got the product grid, and you've got your H2 with 3 H3s and collection page copy to go with it, okay? Now, you can get creative with your H3s if you want. Unique selling points is a good place to start, but I would definitely think to loop, like including keywords, right? You also want to make sure you're having in internal links, right? So I just did this for the dark spots collection. However, I also would have theoretically done it for the anti-aging, the moisturizing, and the detoxifying face masks. So I would link to other benefits within this or like within the site, and I'd have internal links going from there to there, and also in reverse from, for example, anti-aging to this dark spots collection, right? So that's how I do it, right? And again, this just reflects that similar formatting I use all the time for collection pages. And I say all the time, I probably use it 99% of the time because there are some niches and some SERPs that just behave a little bit differently. They either need more copy or way less copy. That's just a decision you have to make kind of based on SERP data. But I will tell you, like, this works. Let's call it 90% of the time. All right. Worst case, you input it, you figure out it's working okay, but not perfect. Then you can iterate from there. But again, like, this is what we start with most of the time. Okay. So similar collections, internal links there. Again, that's just a sample of what this page would look like. And I would do this for all of their collection pages that don't currently rank in the top 5. So now you're looking at like all of these effectively would have copy. Okay. Now the product page, let me get back there in a second. So there's only one product I think is like really valuable, worth touching. It's the exfoliating toner, which I told you about. The meta title is currently Loop Skincare Essentials Exfoliating Toner. Okay. I recommend changing the meta title to Exfoliating Toner Pads, Resurfacing and Anti-Aging. That's what I would do, only for the fact that, like, while Loops is a pretty big brand, definitely doing, I don't know, probably 8 figures a year would be high 7 to low 8 figures a year would be my assumption. Even though they are like a big brand in that respect, they're not big enough to have a branded term at the front of their meta title. Front loading the target keyword with the word pad on it would in fact be a better use of space and yield pretty substantial SEO results. They already rank number 3 for a nearly 2,000 search a month keyword. Changing the meta title would probably be enough to get it there. If that didn't get it there, I'd probably just adjust this first sentence and I would do something like an exfoliating pad treatment or an exfoliating toner pad that resurfaces uneven skin texture, right? You change the meta title, you update the first sentence, you're already in position 3, probably going to get to the number 1 spot. You're definitely going to get to the number 2 spot. Okay. So that's another like pretty easy win on the product page that I think they should do. Now, blog page. They don't have any blogs, right? If you go to their blogs, they set it up almost. They almost set it up here. They've got this Loops newsletter with 3 tests on it that have actually no content on them. Not uncommon for brands. I've seen bigger brands than Loops do this and just start a blog and never get around to it. Honestly, not a big deal, right? They're making enough money. A blog a couple years ago maybe would have been helpful when top funnel and topical authority were a very big play here. However, now I don't believe that's of any value to them. Okay. So instead, let's focus on the middle of funnel and bottom funnel style blog content. I took the top 3 competitors they have, which are Sephora, Fresh Face, and Lush. Sephora and Lush should probably stand out to you if you know anything about skincare or you know anything about anything really. Those are 2 enormous brands. Sephora, obviously. Lush as well is a pretty big brand that had a big moment with like bath bombs and various soaps and things like that. Apparently they're getting into more skincare stuff, so they've got face masks. Now, when I checked a couple weeks ago, these were the top 3 results here. Like I said, Sephora, Fresh Face, and Lush. It would be beneficial to Loops or anyone for that matter selling face mask here to essentially effectively create 2 different types of articles per competitor. Sephora face mask alternatives as one example, and Sephora face mask Loops versus Loop face mask. Couple benefits of these. You can hijack branded traffic from larger competitors that they already spent a ton of money on Meta or time on organic social to acquire. Sephora is probably conservatively 100 times bigger than Loops. I don't know, much bigger probably. They're an international brand, billions of dollars, right? They spend a lot of money. People know their name. They get a lot of branded search volume, whether it's from their brand legacy or what they spent on Meta or wherever else. A lot of people search for Sephora. Now, this is not Sephora versus Loops. This is Sephora face masks versus Loops face masks, okay? And again, same thing goes with the alternatives, right? You're not trying to beat Sephora at the whole beauty game. You just need to beat them in this one category, which is where you exist, okay? Same thing with Fresh Face, same thing with Lush. Again, and I would repeat this for like all of your probably top 5 to 10 competitors. I posted about these structures here on YouTube as well. This is like kind of what I'm talking about. Competitor alternatives here. Literally just like a listicle format. And it would be like best competitor alternatives as your H2 and H1, and then a list 3 or 10 H3s, your brand's number 1. Every other competitor you have is number 2 through 10. And you do that for every single one of your top 5, 10 competitors. And then you versus competitor, again, just a very solid breakdown of you versus the competitor, like at the biggest selling points that would be important to this product, right? So for face mask, you probably want to be looking into like like reviews, pricing, ingredients. Like maybe you're looking for organic versus synthetic, or like, use cases like sleep versus anti-acne versus, calming versus detoxifying. Maybe you're looking for like men or women, like all these things that people would think about. Like every FAQ question you've ever gotten customer service, like should probably be a consideration in these like you versus them stuff, because if someone's already asked them, very good chance more people are going to ask them. And those are going to be very important things that you'll want to include in this kind of X versus Y stuff. Now, we are talking about hijacking branded traffic, right? People are going to search for Sephora. I have competitors, or I have brands right now where we rank like number 2 or 3 for their main competitors' brand keyword. Like we are just hijacking brand traffic from them because we are targeting their brand keyword. It's kind of like doing Google ads, like for a competitor, we're just doing it organically, and it's working really, really well. So you get to steal the customers out of their brand funnels, and you get to increase your AI and LLM visibility. I've talked about it before, but these 2 article types specifically, as well as product roundups, which are also really damn good, have the highest rate of visibility in AI and LLMs of all LLM engines. Second, only right behind product and collection pages, right? So the goal is to rank products and collections. That's always been the case with e-commerce SEO. However, these 3 article types can go a long way in kind of increasing your AI footprint across multiple engines, right? And then, of course, if you've got these articles, you get to control the narrative around who is the best option amongst a sea of competitors, right? Everyone can go check out like every single product. There are probably people out there that will go check at every single Sephora face mask, every single Fresh face mask, every single Lush face mask, and every single Loops, and 10 other competitors, right? If you've got an article that does all of that in a very concise, unbiased manner, you get to control the narrative, and you probably get the damn purchase, okay? So these articles work really, really, really well. So that is kind of the recommendation I'd make for Loops. You don't need to go target stuff like what is a face mask, what are the benefits of face masks. Like you don't need to do that, okay? Go out to your collections to focus on all the different use cases, target men, target women, target acne, sleep, all this stuff. Add the copy, optimize the page, build internal links, target specific competitors, build product roundups, and then power the whole system up with backlinks, and guaranteed you're going to make probably triple the amount of money you're currently making on organic search. And just to show you, I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up an ROI calculator with some of the keywords I've already got. So give me 1 second. Okay, so this is the SEO ROI calculator. I've actually shared this on YouTube before. I'm just using the same copy, okay? Now, this is based on April 2025 click-through rates. I don't have a more recent study, otherwise I would update it, but that's what I've got currently. You've got position 1, average click-through rate based on position, okay? I pulled the top 10 keywords from the previous spreadsheet I showed from Loops. So from here, I pulled the top 10 volume. And again, this is not by any means an exhaustive list of keywords, but this is what we're going to roll with here, okay? Pull the search volume in, then these essentially get calculated based on average click-through rate and monthly search volume. So this number times this percentage gives you projected estimated traffic. Now, you can see like these are the keywords I'm looking at here. Not an overwhelming total volume, probably, I don't know, probably like 12 or probably like 12 and 15,000 doing some quick math. Yeah, we'll do that. Organic search conversion rate, I put conservatively at 2.5. I'm sure on branded search, they probably convert at like 4 or 5% because their prices are pretty good. AOV, I don't know. I'm guessing they get a lot of subscription value, so their AOV may be lower than 65. It's probably closer to like 35 or 40, but I'm sure they get a lot of subscription. So, but again, like I'm making an assumption here. So $65 and a very conservative organic search conversion of 2.5%. If you take these keywords and turn them into revenue, estimated revenue per keyword would be right here. So facial mask, you get about 4,000, moisturizing 820, face mask for acne 1,200, right? And the rest of these are like they're not honestly like that exciting. Okay, total revenue just on these 10 keywords alone would yield about 9,500 organic search revenue. If you were to work with an SEO agency and earn these keywords, I can't tell you everyone else's pricing because I don't know it. Based on our pricing, that would be roughly a 3x ROI. And that's just on 10 keywords. You factor in the branded search we're hijacking from Sephora, Lush, Fresh Face, Plus, if we can go like change the search intent of face mask and go capitalize on like a 50,000 search keyword, this number gets a lot more enticing. Okay. Again, this is just the number one position. Position number two, you'd be about half that. Position number three, you'd be accordingly about a third of that, right? You really have to be in the top three to make anything happen. Position number four, 7.2% click-through rate doesn't matter at all unless you're on like a 100,000 search volume keyword, at which point you're getting 7,000 clicks. But 7% click-through is just not that exciting. Honestly, neither is 10. Really, you got to be in the top two to have any kind of visibility nowadays with all the ad spots and AOVs and stuff. So, in any case, that's kind of the full out of Loops. A little bit haphazard, a little bit all over the place right there. But honestly, I saw the brand. I want to take a look at it, and I want to kind of share with you guys what I found, if I think the economics make sense, how I think they work out, and what the strategy would actually be. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.